Hey guys! So I thought it would be fun to do another video about unrequited crushes. However, it's gonna be a little bit different this time. This time, it's gonna be me not returning the feelings for somebody else, because I know it's hard to believe, but some people have had a crush on me while growing up. Don't really know why. Either they have low standards or like they had no other choice. But some people have liked me, and I'm just gonna do 3 because whatever. Yeah, so the first one I'm going to talk about isn't that much of a story, but it was kind of funny, which is I would walk to and from high school because I was only a couple blocks away, and there's this one kid who was, I think he was like a year or 2 younger than me, so I think he either he was just younger than me, right? And he would also walk to and from school, and he lived in the same neighborhood as I did. He actually lived like, I don't know how many houses down from mine, but like we would get to my house before his, right? I never talked to this guy. I didn't even know his name. I still don't know his name, I don't think. I just know that we would walk the same exact route. And I would always walk in front of him just because I was a fast walker. I mean, I'm not a fast walker, it's just that compared to like slowly walking, right? Because I wanted to get home. So I was walking home one time, and I hear somebody kind of like trying to catch up to me, which is super scary, by the way, being a tiny little girl walking by yourself. Like it's just scary to hear somebody running behind you. But I try to ignore it, even though that's not smart. And the person catches up to me, and I notice it's the kid that walks the same route as me. He's, I don't know, I was either a sophomore or junior year high school, so he was like a freshman. He was a baby, and he was like, "Oh hey, Leslie, right?" And I was like, "Yes, who are you?" But I didn't say that. I was just like, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, blah blah blah," and I forgot what he was saying really. But right when we get to my house, he says, so I was wondering if you wanted to like go out on a date, maybe, blah blah. He asked me out, and I don't know this guy. I am not looking to date anyone. I just didn't want to go on a date with this poor kid. So I said, I think I told him, because this is when I had a kind of a thing with that one person that I fell for a long time ago that didn't, my first heartbreak, whatever. So I said, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm actually interested in somebody else," or something like that. And I said that right in front of my house. And the funny thing is, when we were walking up to my house, like not up to my house, but like past my house, my uncle and my brother park in the driveway because he picked him up from school. And so right when I turned down this guy, my brother comes out of the car and yells, "Who's that? Your boyfriend?" I was like, I felt so awkward because I just turned this guy down for a date, and my younger brother is over here calling him my boyfriend, or teasing him about being my boyfriend. And he was cool about it. He was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And he just keeps walking, and I go up to my house. But I was so embarrassed because of that. I was so embarrassed that my brother would say that, like in front of this guy that I just turned down. I mean, it's not like he knew, but still, it was like super embarrassing. But it's so funny. It feels like something that would happen in a TV show, so it's something I remember forever. Okay, next person. I know this guy's name, but I'm not going to say it, obviously. So his name is Kevin now. So me and Kevin, I think this was like sophomore year of high school, we had Spanish class together. And he was like, okay, like he was kind of known for being a little weird, but not that weird, pretty normal. And I forgot how we started talking. We might have had like a group project together or something, but I had to have his number. We had to have each other's numbers. And so I had mine, and we would text sometimes. And even back then, I wasn't that great of a texter, so it would take a while to reply. But he would text me nonstop, like all the time. And at first, I was like, okay, he just wants to talk, but eventually it got really annoying. And he got really flirty and stuff. And I wish I could remember what he said. I just remember, I don't, but I just remember like not really being interested and being really uncomfortable. And every time I would get a message bomb, like he would bombard me with messages, and I would like throw my phone across the room in my friend's house, and she would tease me about it, like, "Oh, he loves you, blah blah blah." And I was like, "No, don't say that." But yeah, he was just super I don't know, and I clearly didn't have any feelings for him. And I remember when I would walk into class, he would be sitting at my desk, but not even like in the chair. He would have his butt on my table and his feet on the seat where I'm supposed to sit. And I was not a super huge fan of that. I don't want your butt on my desk where my books are going to be, and I don't want your feet on the chair that I'm going to put my butt into. It was just, I didn't like it. And I made the mistake of like going into class when he was doing that, waiting at my seat for me. And then I would have to be forced, I would be forced to talk to him. Eventually I did learn that he did that every day. So I would like walk up to the class, I would look in through the window, and I'd see him sitting there waiting for me, and I like turn around and I'd like hide at my locker, or like just hide somewhere like in the bathroom until the bell rang, and then I would quickly go to class because by then he would be forced to go back to his seat, you know. So that was a guy that I had nothing for. I did learn that he ended up being like that to any girl he liked. Apparently he pretty much kind of tried to go for any girl that would show like any interest in friendship and stuff like that, but he didn't want that. But yeah, he ended up getting really easily attached to people, so I had to kind of slowly fade out of his life. So that was fun and weird. But things are okay now, and I haven't heard from him in many, many, many years. I have no idea where he is. He could be dead. I don't know. I hope he's not. But I'm just saying, if he was, I wouldn't know. Okay, so next story is one of the creepier ones, but I'm really glad from how I handled this. So there was, this was in college, and I had like an algebra class, and then after that class I would have to wait for an hour until my next class. So in front of my algebra class there were these huge giant steps where like plants were like planted and stuff. Maybe I should try to illustrate it. I don't know, I'm not good at illustrating that stuff. And people would sit there waiting for their class, and it was usually really shady there, like as in lots of shade, so the sun wouldn't hit you. So it was a really good hangout spot. So I went to algebra like normal, nothing different. Had a test, went out, sat at those steps, and waited for my next class, which was in the same building, just upstairs. So it was all outside, of course. And then so I just sat there and I had to study because the next class was also a test. So I studied and I took notes while listening to like music. I was obviously not in the mood to talk. I hate it when people see that you're like reading or working on homework or just doing your own thing and they try to talk to you. Like there's a certain time when I want to be talked to, but that is not the time. Headphones in, face in my book, not the right time. But this guy comes out from my algebra class and sits right next to me. And I have never, ever, ever in my life have seen this guy. The only reason why I knew he was in my algebra class was because he came out of that door and he started talking to me about the algebra test. But he sat like way in the back and never even, I had no idea who this guy was. So he talks to me, he's like, hey, yo, that test was something, right? Blah, blah. And I had to I had to like get my earphones out. I had to close my book. Well, actually, in the beginning, I didn't close my book. I kept it open and tried to like work to show him like, yo, this ain't the time. But it ended up not working. So I had to close my book eventually. But yeah, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty hard. And like I wasn't trying to keep the conversation going. I was giving very short answers to try to end it so that he would figure out that I didn't want to talk, but it didn't work. And then he just started talking about other things. Like, I wish I could remember everything, but I can't. He started talking about, like, the beach or something. And I was like, yeah, the beach is nice. And he was like, yeah, we should go sometime. And I'm like, yeah. Never met you, and we're not friends. I don't even know your name, but okay. And he was just, like, making all these suggestions, like, all these places that we should go together. And I was just like, yep, I'm trying to study. I was clearly, like, I was, like, at that moment, I was thinking about, like, God, I wish I had, like, a guy friend who would come up, like, I could text him and be like, yo, help me, please, and he would come over and, like, pretend to be my boyfriend or something. Like, I wanted that so bad. I wanted somebody to, like, intervene so badly, but, it didn't happen, obviously. But God, yeah. And anyways, he was saying all this stuff, and then he was saying, hey, can I have your number? And I said, oh, I don't give out my number to people I don't know. That was usually my go-to thing, because that's just what I went with. And he kept bugging for it, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. And so I eventually gave him my number, and he said, cool, I'm going to text you right now to make sure you get it, because that is the thing guys do now, because a lot of girls like to give out fake numbers, and that's not really possible, because I think there's apps where it is possible to give them a fake number and it goes to your phone for that one time when they test it out, but I don't have the app. So I gave him my number. He texted me immediately, took my phone to make sure that I got it, and he was like, cool. And I was like, yep. And then I was like, oh, my class is starting, I better go. And he's like, I'm gonna walk you to your class. And I said, okay. So he walks me up. We have to go up the stairs together all the way to the second floor. And I realized the class was canceled, so I waited that whole hour for no reason. I could have been home. I could have avoided the whole situation, but I was a dum-dum, and I didn't check, because that teacher never emailed us to say the class was canceled, by the way. A lot of teachers do that, and it's very nice, but he never did that. I hated that teacher, that professor. Yeah, hated him. But, yeah. So note on the door said it was canceled. I'm like, well, it's canceled. I waited that hour for nothing. I'm just going to go home. I have to go home now. Which I shouldn't have done. I should have said I'm going to meet somebody like at the cafeteria or something. I should have made some kind of excuse so that he wouldn't follow me more. But I didn't, because I thought that would mean, because he had another class. So I thought he would go to his class, But he said, cool, I'll walk you to your car. So I said, okay. Because I'm a dumb and I don't know how to I tried before to say no to this guy, but he never took no. He wouldn't let me off. I don't know. I couldn't, I felt really trapped. I was by myself in this big hallway with this one guy. I was really scared. I just wanted to be out of there where there were more people, as soon as possible. I said yes. We ran, or I practically power walked, and he kind of struggled to keep up with me because I was just trying to be as far away from this guy as possible. I tried to lose him all the way up to the parking lot. It never happened. I was swerving in and out of people. I don't know. It was bad. It was really scary, and I just couldn't stand this guy. He was just, it's the worst. And then we get to the steps to the parking lot, because the school was it was a really weird campus where it's hills everywhere and stuff, right? So the parking lot was kind of above the campus, and so you had to go up these flight of stairs. So we stopped at the flight of stairs, and I said, okay, I can take it from here. Because at this point I was sick. I was done, and I was tired of it, and I wanted this guy out, and I couldn't stand doing this anymore. So I said, okay, I'm good here. I gotta go. And he said, okay, bye. And he opens his arms, and he goes in for a hug, which has happened to me a lot of times, because they want some kind of affection, some kind of touchy thing, right? And in the past, I've usually just settled for it because I was afraid of, pushing people away, even if I didn't want to, hug them or whatever. I was afraid of consequences and stuff like that. Consequences, I don't know the word. But I was so done. And so he goes in for the hug, and I put my arms in front of me, in this kind of crossed motion. I don't know how to explain it, but I kind of stepped backwards, and I had my arms out, and I said, no, I don't know you. I just barely met you. And then I ran up the stairs. Something like that. I said no, I just met you, or something. I don't know. Just I rejected, and I ran up the stairs, and that's it. I think all he said was oh, okay. I'm pretty sure he said that, maybe, if anything at all. But yeah, and I ran up the stairs, and then I ran to my car. I kept looking over my shoulder to check if he was following. Luckily, he didn't. I ran in my car. I sat there, and I was shaking. I was so scared. I was shaking. I was so mad. I was so angry at myself for letting it happen, but I was angry at him for not taking the hint. I was clearly not interested. It was so bad. And I went home and I talked about it. I immediately vented. I don't know if I still had DeviantArt or not. I think it might have been on Twitter. I should find the story. I know it's on Tumblr. I meant Tumblr. The story has to be there somewhere, so I'll try to find it. But yeah, bad time. And then it was just scary knowing that every other day I would probably have to see this guy because he was in that class. But yeah, he sat in the back usually, and I sat in the very front. And I would avoid him at all costs whenever the teacher would like call out our names to pick up our papers. Whenever he would call our names out too close together, I would let him go first, and then I'd wait, and then I'd get my papers, even though it would make me kind of late, you know. I just avoided this guy at all costs. I would run out of the class whenever it was ended, because like I said, I was in the very front, so I would just bolt out of there, bolt up the stairs. I think I stopped hanging out in those really nice steps because I was afraid he would talk to me again. And yeah, so I don't know if that even counts as a crush, more like just some guy trying to get with me, I think. But it was definitely one of the worst experiences with a guy that I've had. So yeah, fun times. Luckily it hasn't happened too much recently, especially since I'm avoiding people now. But yeah, that's fun. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Please be good outlets for me. I'm stumbling. And I'll see you guys next time.